Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are now on our 17th speaker.
Oh, we're almost done.
Yes, I'm very pleased to introduce Arizza. She is the co-founder and president of KRIS, a nonprofit organization that promotes peace through education and youth leadership. KRIS, or I don't know if it's Chris, I'm sorry about that, has built libraries and provided scholarships for young people victimized by conflict and poverty. Today, KRIS educates, empowers, and inspires young peace builders through summits, training programs, and offline and online information campaigns. Arizza is also one of 10 young leaders handpicked by the former United Nations Secretary General, Kofi Annan, to eradicate violent extremism through the Global Extremely Together initiative. For her work, Arizza was awarded as one of the 10 outstanding students of the Philippines in 2016 and one of 5 global recipients of Zonta International's Young Women for Public Affairs Award.
Global Women Who Rule indeed. So I have here some fun facts about Arizza. She comes from an interfaith marriage. Her mom is Muslim and her dad is Catholic. And her family's hometowns are Zamboanga and Sulu. And she received degree in Bachelor of Science Industrial Engineering, magna cum laude from UP Diliman. Her piece seems interesting. Books Not Guns, Building Peace in the Philippines Through Women and Youth Leadership. Streaming live online. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Arizza Ann Nocum.
Thank you so much. First off, I'd like to say thank you to Miss Apple Esplana Manansala, the wonderful team at the New Channel, and the amazing women of Global Women Who Rule joining me today. I've been hearing your stories all afternoon, and they're super inspiring, and I'm sure that I will take a lot of lessons with me moving forward. And I'm so happy that today we're not just celebrating the accomplishments of Filipino women from all over the world, but we're also coming together to raise funds for the important work being done by Alopecia Philippines. So for the short time I have with you today, I simply want to tell 3 stories. First, as a girl. Second, as a woman. And third, as a woman on the journey to ruling not a kingdom, not a community or a country, but ruling herself. So first, as a girl. From a young age, I knew that I was growing up in 2 different worlds. Like the hosts, our pretty hosts mentioned earlier, my dad is a Catholic from Zamboanga and my mom is Muslim and she's from Sulu. How they found each other and fell in love despite their differences and built a family where they decided to actually retain both Islam and Christianity is a really long story for another time. But it was such an act of courage that I've always been in awe of that, especially considering that during the time they met and as they were building this interfaith family, there was so much conflict happening in the part of the world where they came from. There were acts of war and terrorism, tensions between Muslim and Christian communities happening right in our hometowns in Zamboanga and Sulu. But their story and the home that they built stood as a testament to peace, understanding, and respect. I really admire both my parents for what they've done, but I sympathize more with my mom now, especially that I'm a little bit more grown up. It's not easy going against norms. It's not easy going against the expectations of your family, the expectation of society. And as a young woman, I bet it was really hard for her at that time. But she stood firm for what she believed in. And in doing so, she formed a family with a story that had the potential to change the narrative of conflict in the Philippines. To me, her story said, peace is possible. This is why I count my mommy, as a personal hero. I place her right up there with loved ones who have endured hardship and have still managed to share and shine in their lives, like my grandmother, whom I call Mamang, and my aunt, whom I call Mama Edel. And I place them up there with people like Mother Teresa, Marie Curie, Anne Frank, and the women you see here before you. Because my first lesson as a little girl was learning that girls and women can change the world. But my second story is about how women can change the world, but how they do have to fight their way through. Taking a page from my mom and my personal heroes, I also wanted to change the world. I wanted to move beyond our family and what we experienced and extend that possibility of peace to other people in the Philippines. At 14 years old, I co-founded CHRIS, or Christiana Islam Peace Library, a nonprofit organization promoting peace through education and youth leadership. At that time, I wanted young women and men like myself to take the lead in promoting peace in their own communities by being the best version of themselves. In the first years of our journey at CHRIS, we were able to build 6 libraries, provide 400 scholarship grants to students from preschool to university, and donate thousands of books and computers to communities affected by conflict and poverty. It's been a whirlwind of a journey since we started nearly 15 years ago, but I'm proud to say that today we're still alive and CHRIS continues its mission. In the past 2 years alone, we were able to train more than 1,000 young leaders on peace building, provided seed grants from 30,000 pesos to 50,000 pesos each to 20 youth organizations around the Philippines that had promising ideas for peace, because we believe that if young people have really good ideas for peace, then we should put our money where our mouth is and really provide them with the resources. And we also reached hundreds of thousands through our online and information campaigns where we wanted to teach values like empathy and respect and understanding to young people. And because it was the pandemic and online learning was the norm for everyone, we also provided 70 students in need with tablets and educational materials that they needed. And recently, there were a series of typhoons, flooding, and landslide in Mindanao, and we use our network at CHRIS to provide food, medicine, clothing, and more to 3,280 individuals. And when I say all this and all these numbers and accomplishments, it seems like a nice and easy linear journey throughout the years, but honestly, it's really been one hell of a journey. Yung tipong feeling mo dumadaan ka sa butas ng karayom or you're passing through the eye of a needle. As a young woman, and as a young leader, I've faced so many situations in which my capacity was put in doubt. I've been seen as too young or too inexperienced or too emotional. I felt invisible sometimes, especially in situations where I might be the only female in a panel or in a meeting. And even my own parents felt that I wouldn't be capable of taking care of myself if I had to travel alone for work. Apart from CHRIS, I was also an engineering student in a heavily male college, and it felt sometimes that when I performed really well, like if I topped an exam, it was seen as an exception and not something that was common. And since we're being real here, very real, very raw, I also have to share that there were times when I was harassed, either physically or verbally, in different situations. Many women I know have had similar experiences, young women, young at heart women, and this confirms the fact that there are so many biases and forces that still work against women today. So my second lesson now growing up as a woman is that we as women need to actively work with other women, LGBT community, men, everyone around us to address the biases that still exist in society. We not only have to break the glass ceiling, we have to build a world where these ceilings don't exist in the first place. And my third and final lesson is about being a woman aspiring to rule herself. I've talked about how women can change the world. I also told you about how women have to work against biases and glass ceilings to change the world. But now I want to talk about how changing the world starts, I think, with changing myself. After years of working with CHRIS and today having the privilege of running my own business, I've come to learn that the biggest battle we can ever face in our lives, it's not me versus you or them versus us. It's actually me versus me. I used to be the kind of person who wanted to speak all the time, who always wanted recognition, and who felt bad if she wasn't the best. But then I realized that this ego was actually preventing me from reaching my true goals. I mean, I promised to serve other people through Chris and through my work, but I was so focused on what myself can do. So I was losing sight of my mission. So because of this, I realized that I have to work hard to remind myself to manage this ego and to remind myself that humility can take us very far. I also used to be the kind of woman who was very conscious about society standards. I thought that the perfect life as a woman meant having a great job, a house and a car, being a great mother, being a great wife, being fashionable, and being beautiful, because why not? But maybe that image of a perfect life is not perfect to me. Maybe I wanted to define my own standards. Maybe I wanted to define what perfect really meant for me. And I'm happy that I'm slowly starting to do that now. I do still listen and take heed of the expectations of my parents, friends, loved ones, mentors, colleagues, and society. But in the end, I will take those inputs, carefully process, and produce a dream that is still all mine. And that's my final lesson. Women can rule the world, the globe, the universe, oh yes, but they have to rule themselves first. Thank you so much and happy International Women's Month.